Hey guys, it's Snowbiter, and this is the second replay I wanted to show you guys with the 5A on Fjords. I already posted my commentary of the first replay actually a couple weeks ago now, so I'll put a link to that in the description of this video if you're curious. I'll probably reference it a few times in this video, so I'd suggest watching it before watching this video. But anyway, looking at this matchup, unlike the first replay I posted, this game only has tier 10s and tier 9s. Each team has 5 tier 10s with the rest tier 9s. And it's actually a pretty even matchup for the most part. Looking at only the tier 10s, my team does have a Type 5 and an E3, which I think gives us a bit of an edge in terms of heavies. Even though the enemy team has an E100, the E100 is probably the weakest super heavy in the game right now. So, assuming that both the Type 5 and E3 go south on my team, I'm thinking that we should be able to win that flank fairly comfortably. But otherwise, there isn't really any obvious advantage that one team has over the other, so unlike in that first replay that I posted, I don't really have any strong expectations about how I think this battle is going to progress. So I'm going to just have to pay close attention to what my team and what the enemy team is doing, and where certain tanks get lit, and then that'll kind of determine how I want to flex later on. So with that in mind, I'm just going to do my default play at the start here, like I talked about in the first part, in the first video I posted, and I'm just going to go to that rocket E7 again. One thing I will say though is that in these kinds of matchups, because you're dealing with only tier 10s and tier 9s, it can be a lot harder, or a lot more dangerous anyway, to play aggressively, because there are just more tanks in the game that are capable of punishing you. So whereas in that first replay that I posted, I was able to just push through the middle of the map after a couple minutes once I saw where the two enemy tier 10s were lit, knowing that I could just basically bully all the tanks that were in that area. Chances are in this game I'll have to be a bit more passive, because there's just more that I have to be careful of avoiding. So, that gives me just less of the map to work with. So again, the start here is going to look pretty similar to that first replay. I get up to this rock, and I'm pre-aiming toward D4. The enemy Patton gets lit trying to cross, and I'm set up to get a free shot into him, and I actually set him on fire as well, and I get a bit of assist damage. So a really good start to this game already, and you'll notice I didn't get lit there, so I'm just going to peek back out and to cover this area to see if I can catch anything else that might be trying to cross into E4 or so. Now, there are a couple things to point out here already, and I'm actually just going to pause the replay here for a moment, just so the battle doesn't progress too far. But one is, you'll notice if you look at the minimap, both the Type 5 and the E3 in my team haven't really left our base, and we actually have quite a few tanks sitting on that island near our cap circle. So that means that, I was thinking we would have an advantage in the south, but because of the fact that neither of those tanks went where I thought they would go, we're actually kind of weak in that area, and we could lose that flank depending on what the enemy team sends there. In addition to that, you saw that the T10 on my team has also gone to the exact same position as me here in E7, and because of that, I feel like I'm not going to be able to be as effective playing this position as I would like, because this is one of those spots where it's very easy for a teammate to get in your way or disrupt what you're doing, whether it's by getting lit at a bad time or having Artie shoot at your teammate and like splashing you simultaneously. So I don't really want to be in that kind of situation where, I'm not necessarily in control of what's going on around me. So with those two things in mind, I'm just going to flex away from this position way sooner than I did in that first replay. Now, we're only a minute or so into the game, so there are a lot of tanks on the enemy team that are still unlit. But because that southern flank doesn't have as much support as I was expecting, I'm going to start to head in that direction, and ultimately I want to go all the way down into J5 and help out the tanks that we have in that area. Especially because, like I was kind of talking about before, the enemy team doesn't really have any super heavy tanks or TDs that pose too much of a threat to me, or that I find too difficult to deal with. So even though the 5A doesn't have the HP and armor of a true brawling heavy tank, I'm thinking that I still should be able to trade effectively playing that area based on what the enemy team could possibly send there. So I decided here to briefly peek around this house, knowing that there would probably be a tank peeking from behind that ridge at E4. Unfortunately, my snapshot missed, but it was really more important there that I just didn't take any damage than actually making that shot connect. So I'm just going to continue down and try to help out my teammates brawling with this E100 and T10. So as I reach this corner, I see that the E100 is aiming at one of my teammates, so I peek out and put a shot into his lower plate. And since I saw the E100 shoot there, even though he has the 120mm gun, I know I reload before him, so I peek out again. I end up spotting the enemy tortoise instead though, so I put a shot into him, and he actually manages to get a shot back into me. I was kind of surprised that he was able to depress his gun enough to hit me. So that forced me to back off, and now the E100 is staring at my position, so I don't want to peek up into him and, give him a chance of getting a shot on me without me returning a shot to him. He went dark there, so I was hoping that I could maybe catch him by surprise by peeking out, but he was still staring right at me, so we just trade shots there. Now again, I know I reload before him, so I'm going to peek out again. And since he's not angling his target at all, I'm able to put a shot into him before he can shoot me back. So even though I did actually take a shot of damage first there in that engagement, I essentially got a 2-for-1 trade out of it ultimately. Now I want to try to avoid losing more HP, so I decided to try to side scrape on this corner and hopefully bait out a shot from one of those tanks there. But the E-100 actually backs off the corner for some reason, so that allows me to just peek out for free and shoot the tortoise without getting shot back in return. Now with the E-100 watching my corner again, I'm going to try to do the same thing as before and side scrape to bait out a shot. And I'm also trying to see if I can maneuver into position here where I can actually shoot the E-100, so there I actually managed to find a spot where I have just enough gun depression to hit the E-100 in his flat turret. So now he's a one-shot and he's kind of forced to back off. Then the ST-1 kills the tortoise, so the T-10 is now kind of by himself. And I saw that he didn't really have enough gun depression to shoot me, so I was able to peek out and quickly get a shot into him, tracking him in place. And you can see the E-100 doesn't want to push forward again, so once I reload, I put another shot into the T-10. And now my team is in really good shape to win this flank. The T-95 starts to push up, so I'm going to move up with him and support him. And I get another shot on the T-10, so now both tanks left in the south on the enemy team are one-shots, and it's just a matter of us pushing forward and finishing them off. I get a bit greedy here going for the kill on the T-10, and I end up exposing my track to the E-100, so he gets another shot on me, which kind of sucks, but at this point my team is pretty comfortably ahead in this battle, so losing that HP shouldn't really matter too much for the rest of the game. And there the T-95 finishes off the E-100. So we've cleaned up the southern flank, and there are tanks that are pushing down the 9 line toward our cap circle. We kind of lost our tanks in the northeast of the map, but since we still have, I think, 3 TDs left near our base, I'm not too concerned about the enemy killing those guys and then capping us out. So I'm just going to head back for the middle and see if I can get some shots on the T-95 and E-4 that are kind of trapped here in the F line. So the rest of this replay is pretty much just me trying to farm as much damage as I can. As you can see, I've already done 5,500 damage to this point, so already a decent game, and I think I did a pretty good job, other than really that last shot that I took from the E-100. I think I did a pretty good job in that whole engagement, just making sure that I make good trades and take advantage of when I do lose HP, I'm able to at least get 1 or 2 shots off back in return on the enemy tanks that are shooting at me. And that's the advantage of playing a tank like the 5A that has 490 alpha, is that it makes it a lot easier to trade effectively in those kinds of situations. With a tank that has 390 or even 440 alpha, it can sometimes be a bit difficult to always make good trades when you're in those kinds of brawling engagements. But anyway, I got the kill there on the T-95 right as I get stunned and tracked by Artie, so that could have ended badly for me if I bounced that shot, but fortunately I get the kill, and then I'm able to finish off the E4 as well. So this game is basically over now. It's just the Sen AX and 2 Arties left, so I'll fast forward a little bit here as I head north to flank the Sen. But that's pretty much it for this video. I mean, like I was talking about with the first replay that I posted, I wanted to juxtapose these 2 replays to kind of highlight the factors that end up leading me to play out each battle differently after doing the exact same thing at the start of both of them. And ultimately, I get similar results in each battle. They both end up being high damage games, so I thought it'd be interesting to show these 2 replays together because of that. And then at the same time, I also wanted to post these 2 replays just to show how versatile the 5A is. As I mentioned before, in my opinion, the 5A is one of, if not the best tier 10s in the game right now, because of just how many different options you have playing it from battle to battle. It can basically adapt to whatever role you think you need to play in that particular moment. So hopefully that was kind of evident over the course of these 2 replays. I think, in that first replay, you saw me play this tank a bit more like a medium tank, particularly over the first few minutes of that game, where I did a lot more long-range support, whereas in this battle I did a lot more brawling and played it more like a true heavy tank. So anyway, I get one more shot in that bat Artie to put me above 8,000 damage for the game, and there's the end of the replay. So now I'll show you guys the post-game stats. I ended up with 4 kills and about 8,200 damage, and again, this game also wasn't quite enough for an ace tanker, which kind of goes to show just how difficult the 5A is to actually ace. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and hopefully you found it kind of interesting to see these 2 replays in conjunction with each other. So anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys later.